Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another weather forecast here. This is an important day for the tropical lovers. It is the official peak of the 2020 hurricane season. It is September 10th, which means it is the normal and average peak. So this is actually crazy, and actually it really shows that it's the peak. We actually have a ton of disturbances, and then that's actually not including as well what we have out there with Paulette and Rene. It's extremely active in the tropics right now. It will get even more active in the coming weeks here. We can very well see a good amount of development and formation. So a couple more named storms in September. Could we really actually see Greek named storms in September? You guys are going to just freak out when you guys see the National Hurricane Center, but we're all going to be talking about Paulette and Renee, and if they can both become hurricanes. We're really watching out for Bermuda with Paulette, because Paulette could actually become a Category 2 hurricane here. It's really becoming a stronger trend here, and then we'll be talking about as well the conditions and what models show for the other of these disturbances. Before we get into the video, please subscribe if you're new, hit the like button and the bell notification icon. Without further ado, let's get this tropical forecast. So this definitely shows that it is the peak of the hurricane season. We've actually had two disturbances just pop up in the middle of the night. These two just popped up overnight here. And then we have another one right here. This one right here, soon to be possibly maybe 95L out here. Sorry, not 95L. Possibly become something very interesting to watch out for, to be a 40% here. 40% in the next 5 days. And then as you see, this is going to be soon to invest 95L, soon to be invest 95L. This big blob right here with a 60% chance within the next 48 hours and a 90% chance in the next 5 days. This could very well be Tropical Storm Sally, and I know it's really far out, but I'm really concerned that this could possibly be a big threat for the Caribbean and also for the U.S. As you see, this possibly won't go out to sea, and it could possibly be a big threat here for the Caribbean and the United States. I'm just going to point that out. I know it's really far out. I'm not going to give any details on exactly where. I'm just saying I really think that this could be significant and pretty decently strong as conditions will clear out because Paulette and Renee have passed through. As you see, Paulette sitting here at 50 miles an hour and is now at 997 millibars. Paulette is definitely making a comeback here. We all knew Paulette was going to go through a couple of days of some sheer and mainly dry air, but it's going to be possibly making a comeback before it heads for Bermuda. Models aren't showing a direct landfall, but it's going to get very close. And actually, a couple of the forecast tracks do show a landfall for Bermuda, and it could very well be a Category 2 landfall. Models even show it being stronger than that as it passes by Bermuda later this week. Renee, as you see here, 50 miles an hour as well, but 1,000 millibars. Renee is definitely going to start going through that dryer as well, and is moving west-northwest at 12 miles an hour. And then we have another disturbance I'm really watching out for. Not hurricane strength or anything big. I'm just watching out for this disturbance right here that is over the Bahamas. It has a decent amount of convection, and it's at a 10% chance for 48 hours and a 40% chance for 5 days. The reason why I'm really looking at this is because the Gulf is warming back up here. It is starting to warm up a bit more, and also is the National Hurricane Center has a lot of confidence in this. This was actually not even a disturbance last night, and it already has a 40% chance. So I'm really watching out for that one. And the newest and latest disturbance here is this one that is actually right in the Gulf already and possibly going to be going southwest for some reason. And this actually has a 10 to 20% chance, 10% for 48 hours and a 20% for 5 days. So this is actually the smallest probability and chance for formation and also the newest disturbance here. I'm not really concerned for that. I'm really watching out primarily for Paulette to possibly be a hurricane landfall, if not close to Bermuda. Really watching out for soon to be Sally. And then Renee, really just going to go out to sea, won't hit any land, so it's not a huge threat. And I'm really watching out this one as well, as maybe this could increase and become something, maybe form in the Gulf and head for the United States Gulf Coast. So here's look now at Tropical Storm Paulette. As you see, it looks so much better compared to earlier today. I mean, Paulette's making a big and actually rapid comeback compared to yesterday. A lot of people are doubting this, but this could very well be a Category 2, Category 1, definitely a hurricane. The National Hurricane Center finally agrees and shows a hurricane. Yesterday, they were all showing a tropical storm, when a lot of the tracks and models, future models, showed a trop or a hurricane. So finally, the National Hurricane Center agrees on a hurricane, and it's not making a direct landfall on Bermuda, but the National Hurricane Center takes it just skinning Bermuda here. And this could very well be a big threat, as Bermuda is obviously a very small island, and a Category 2 getting very, very close to Bermuda could still bring some nice, and not nice, some catastrophic winds here, especially for a little island like that. As you see, it looks very, very good. It has a nice center convection, that low. It has very nice banding here, especially in the top part of this low pressure. So overall, this looks very, very organized, very good, very defined. It looks very, very good, organized. It has a central low with a ton of convection surrounding it. It is closed. So it's really making a comeback compared to what it was yesterday. So on the opposite, now this is actually shockingly, guys, this is actually what we're looking at for Tropical Storm Renee. Yep, you heard me, guys. This is Tropical Storm Renee. Like, and the new disturbance near the Bahamas has more convection and is bigger than this. I mean, look at this. I mean, Paulette's thriving, which is going to now allow Renee to fall apart. If Rene were to strengthen here a lot and blow up, then Paulette would fall apart. But really, I mean, wow, I did not expect Rene to die. I mean, fall apart this fast. I mean, look at that. That's like a small little dot of convection just completely lost almost all its convection here. I mean, the disturbance near the Bahamas is like 3 or 4 times as big as this. I mean, this is a tropical storm, guys. I mean, this is a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. This is actually really shocking. Really, really shocking here. So here's looking at now at the northwestern Atlantic. Here you see actually that is Paulette possibly heading straight maybe for the Bermuda area. So really gotta watch out for if you're in Bermuda there. The reason why Paulette's gonna be a big threat is because it's gonna be strengthening a lot more than people anticipated. It's gonna be possibly heading for a very small island called Bermuda. And there's the disturbance right here in the Bahamas. As you see, it looks a lot better looking convection wise. Compared to Renee, and you see has you can definitely see there's a lot broad low pressure and disturbed low pressure right there, and you can definitely see there's some convection starting to build up, and it's been building up a lot over the day. We've had a lot of convection starting to build up over the day and started to organize up or get its act together. But I think this could definitely possibly be an invest pretty soon here. I'm really watching out for that, and that's possibly gonna go maybe right into the Gulf. So it really those waters are starting to warm up a good bit in the Gulf. It's actually going to be coming with a lot. It's going to be coming with a lot of moisture, and it's going to be very, very little shear in the Gulf at that moment. So really just going to be watching it as well. Not a big threat. Not going to be a huge major use landfall. I'm just really watching as a possibility and chance for formation could possibly go up in the coming updates. So here's the National Hurricane Center update. As you see, like I said, they don't show it making a direct landfall, but getting extremely close to Bermuda. It takes a last-minute northern turn, and then it takes a last-minute northern turn, which is going to make it go almost making a landfall for Bermuda. But if it's going to be very strong, like models anticipate, like GFS, and Bermuda can definitely see some big impacts, and I think this could very well possibly maybe make a landfall in Bermuda. I think a landfall in Bermuda is very likely. As you see, though, it's going to be gradually going northwest here, and will be becoming a hurricane possibly by 2 p.m. Sunday. So it could become a hurricane in the coming days here, and could possibly get up to I believe it's an 85-mile-an-hour peak. I believe that the National Hurricane Center shows 85 miles an hour for the peak, but I think it could be possibly stronger than that. I think the chance for this being a major hurricane like Category 3, I think that's definitely increasing, but I think a Category 2 as of now seems the most likely here. But as you see, it takes a last minute turn to the due north, which is going to rise in the threat for Bermuda. If it's going to be that close to Bermuda, they can still bring a possibly, depending strength, a good amount of storm surge and a lot of flooding here. And as you see, There it is. These models going straight kind of west-northwest, and then taking that last-minute turn right there. Now you see Bermuda's is right in the middle of these models here. Bermuda's right here. I know it's really, really hard to see. The black models covering it, but you see a lot of the models are showing a landfall for Bermuda. So really just got to keep in mind the possibility. But Bermuda is by far in the center of this cone, or almost the center of the cone here. As you see, it's almost in the center of the cone. As you see, tropical storm Paulette monsoon guys have gone up significantly. As you see, models to tropical or hurricane as early as 60 hours or as late as 96 hours. So we kind of actually have a good time frame. So when this could possibly become a hurricane. But you see, this is going to be the time frame. This is going to be the recovery. This time frame from now on to 48 hours is going to be the recovery from that shear and from that dry. And then from there, after that 48-hour mark, it's going to blow up in strength. I wouldn't really say RI, but it's definitely going to blow up and get possibly a lot of models are now getting into category 2. A good amount of models. We have 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's like a whole junction right here. There's over at least 7 models show a category 2. And that's actually a lot compared to yesterday and a lot in general. And then we have 2 models getting into a category 3. I think a category 3 is also possible. I mean, we've seen, look how big that jump was intensity. I wouldn't doubt if a couple more get this to like a category 3. I mean, I wouldn't doubt if that actually happened. But look at that. A lot of models are getting into category 2 as well. But almost 100% of the models get this to a hurricane, which is actually a huge improvement. But really, I think Paulette could be a lot stronger than people are anticipating. I mean, I think a category 3 isn't out of the picture. I think the conditions are favorable. It's going through the recovery rate in the next 48 hours, so it's going to maintain at 50 or 60 miles an hour. And then it's going to blow up after that 48-hour mark. It's going to get a huge moisture bubble. It's going to protect it from shear. And the waters are really warming up from Bermuda up to the Bahamas. The waters are really, really warming up here. So that's going to possibly increase the chance for this to become maybe a lot stronger than the National Hurricane Center predicted. So here's like now a tropical storm, Rene. And this is actually very interesting. As you see, Renee expected to be a hurricane, which it's very likely. I think both Paulette and Renee could become hurricanes. But what I find really interesting is the cone. As you see, it kind of goes due north and then takes a straight western turn. And I'm not going to say that's going to bring a big threat for the southeast coast, because obviously it can go like this and then go out to sea. I'm just saying that's very interesting. It's very, very interesting because it goes kind of due west like that. And this thing's moving very, very slow, so it can very well become stronger. Obviously, a couple models are showing this kind of dying, but this could become a hurricane as early as 2 p.m. Saturday. So we can have 2 hurricanes coming this weekend here, and then it's expected to possibly fall apart into a tropical storm, or not fall apart, but weaken to a tropical storm. But really interesting that last 12 hours, but kind of goes due kind of just straight west. Just straight west. It's very interesting. I'm not going to say this kind of increase. I mean, it technically will increase the chance for a landfall, or at least effect for the U.S. technically, but I wouldn't say freak out or anything, because I mean, a lot of those tracks are kind of going like that, and then boom, like just straight like that. But I just see a really weird cone kind of go due north, and then boom. This is basically our cone. I know it's very, very weird, but that's basically our cone for this storm and intensity. So we all saw how only like 2 or 3 models got this to a hurricane yesterday. We now have a lot more, or a good bit more. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 now getting into category 1, and actually 1 getting into category 4, which probably most likely wouldn't happen. But I think a low end category 1 is very, very likely here. Like at least maybe at borderline 75, maybe only 80 mile an hour hurricane, but very short lived. Maybe only 2 days, very short lived, and then it kind of goes back to a tropical storm. But I think it could definitely get to a hurricane for it to peak, and then gradually fall apart as its time has come. It's gonna fall apart. So here's a look at the GFS, and now you see here they show, there it is, Paulette, and there's Renee, and there is a disturbance off Africa, the one with the 90% chance. And now you see, there it is, there they show, look at that, look how much, look, they just blow up. I mean, Paulette just blows up there. I mean, 987 millibars to 983, 975, 976. I mean, look at that, 960 millibars, guys, 960, and then just curves, just barely misses Bermuda here. Let's actually check that out here. Let's check that out. Look at that, just misses. Check out 10-meter winds. I mean, look at that. That's possibly still going to bring in some significant winds here. GFS only shows around 45 miles an hour, but I think this could possibly make a landfall for Bermuda. I think it could very well make a landfall, like something like this, where it goes kind of northwest and then takes that northern turn right when it goes over Bermuda. I think that's very possible. So in fear Bermuda, I know you can't really evacuate unless you get like a boat with enough gas or something, because you guys are in the middle of nowhere, basically in the Atlantic, can't drive. But I would actually, if you want to, prepare. Board or get boards to board up your house if it's necessary. Get materials if you need to, because this could very well be near Bermuda, if not making landfall in 4 days. So not too much time, really, if you think about it. And then they get kind of they get to Rene back to strengthening at 995 millibars, so weak category 1, and then falling apart. So even the GFS agrees with me that this could get to a category 1, start doing one more phase of strengthening, and then fall apart. And then here they got now soon to be Sally, the one with the 90% chance forming in the MDR. So this is going to be a bigger threat to the Caribbean, a bigger threat for portions of the Western Atlantic, because it's going to be doing the traditional MDR kind of western, west-northwest turn, like Laura or Isaias, or really there's multiple examples, or Irma, or that traditional MDR kind of like this. That's the traditional August and September storms. But we had now 2 storms that are going to kind of go north like that. Not really out to sea, because Paulette could possibly hit, or kind of going out to sea. Technically, both going to go out to sea there. So, but finally, possibly going to see another MDR storm. But GFS is showing this blowing up, and I mean blowing up. Looking at 977 millibars in 5 days, and look at that 952 millibar landfall, which is around a category 4 for the Lesser Antilles. That's absolutely mental here. It's really not too common where you see storms that strong before the Lesser Antilles. Usually they're like weak category 1, strong tropical storms, and then they blow up over here like that. But really, a category 4 for the Lesser Antilles, I mean, I don't think it'll be that strong that fast. But I do still agree that soon to be Sally will be, I think it could definitely be a very significant. But look at that, just going south of Puerto Rico as 954 millibars, then kind of doing a Laura. This is honestly going to possibly do a Laura, or sorry, not Laura, it's possibly going to do it in Isaias. Or actually, technically is doing a Laura here, because look, Laura went south of Puerto Rico, then made landfall in Dominican Republic, and then kind of, or actually it's kind of doing the Laura at the beginning, and then this thing goes straight up north, and then that's going to possibly lead in a big threat for the Carolinas. That's going to be a big threat for the Carolinas here. But look at that. That's 953 millibars, guys, heading for the Carolinas. I mean, that's definitely something to keep in mind. I know it's really far away, but I mean, I do think that Sally, which will be the 90%, I think that could definitely be significant. I don't think it's going to be a category 4 for the Lesser Antilles, but I do think that this has a chance to be very significant for the Western Atlantic and including the United States here. So I think a major hurricane isn't out of the picture for this 90%. I know it's only disturbance. I know it's not even an invest, but I really have confidence that this will definitely be very significant. The conditions will clear out a ton because of Renee and Paulette. Shear is going to be minimizing a good bit. Waters are still continuing to warm up significantly for the MDR, so I think it's a matter of time that Sally could very well be very significant strength-wise for the Western Atlantic and U.S. But like I said, I don't think it's going to be a Category 4 for the Lesser Antilles or a Category 4 for Puerto Rico like GFS is showing. But I do think it can get to Category 4 or Category 3 at some point for it to peak. But don't take that 100%. Don't take that my word 100%. I just really have a good feeling, or a bad feeling, that Sally could very well be very significant here. And especially since we're really in the peak here. I mean, we have the most favorable water conditions, lowest amount of shear. I think I think this could very well be something interesting. So guys, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. We are still here at our peak of the hurricane season. After today, we have to wait another 365 days and see how interesting will the peak for 2021 be. It's really interesting here. But guys, don't take out the picture. I know today's the one day of the peak here, but it's 2020 and we are seeing extremely favorable conditions for the next coming weeks. So I think this could be a very long-lasting peak. So expect what we have today on the NHC. Expect that for a couple more weeks.